I'm Felix Gasanyan. I was born in Baku, Azerbaijan, in 1979. But the majority of the stuff that I remember, it was when the kids were talking about, not all, but there were few kids that were talking about we need to kill at least one Armenian to honor our family or to end up in heaven. And these are the kids who were my own age. And that was beyond my comprehension, because I was like, we're all friends. How is that possible? Most of the stuff was at schools. There were a lot of fights in schools. That day, my mother came to school to pick us up. That was totally out of norm, which we couldn't figure out what it was all about. But she was just really in a rush. I've never seen my mom so panicked in my life. My brother and I were confused what was going on, and all she was saying is, we need to get out of here, we need to pack and leave. And it's pack and leave, where we're going. She's like, they're killing Armenians, we need to go. I remember the adults were in panic mode. We were just packing as much stuff as we could pack in suitcases, and back then it was just bags. I know that based on what the adults were talking about, they're like, oh, they're looking for Armenians, so they're knocking on doors and going, Armeni, Armeni. And they were marking doors, identifying essentially targets, which place is going to be attacked next. So we relocated. We didn't see staying in Moscow, where we eventually did return to work on the process of getting our refugee status to come to the United States, because the only U.S. embassy was in Moscow at the time. It was a really challenging time because the Soviet Union was at the verge of collapse. We were lucky enough to be spared. And like I said, when my dad and my mom were in the house and they were attacking and killing people to the right and to the left, somehow they did not come into the house. You know, it was just all of a sudden the screaming and yelling stopped, and then they moved on. My uncle was almost killed. He had to jump out of a second-story window to escape. And one of his Azeri classmates, he actually allowed him into the house. And then eventually he's like, you got to go, I'm going to get killed too. My cousin's grandparents were killed in front of everyone. I see a lot of Baku refugees here, and some of the kids I grew up with here, where they're either doing great or they're doing bad, like getting addicted to drugs, and and that it's all trauma. It's all some of the PTSD stuff that they've experienced, where they try to mask it, whether with drugs or alcohol. I remember when we were flying out, and I've told my dad I've never seen so many Armenians in my life. Even living in Yerevan, I was like, oh my God, this whole airport is Armenian. How is it possible? And we're in Moscow. So Sheremetyevo at the time, there were so many refugees leaving that our full flight, it was Delta Airlines going from Moscow to New York. And recent events that happened in San Francisco, where you have Azeris climbing over to our school and vandalizing it, and setting the church on fire and taking shots at the school. It happened. It's crazy. It's a crazy environment. It happens in America simply because of the ethnicity you are. It's like my kid. He's like, I want to be a true Gasanyan, carry that last name, carry the ethnicity, carry the heritage, and to the day I die. So that's what I want to know.